Sweet. Hopefully it doesn't mess up anything on caffeine. If it does, oh well. Okay, go ahead and say something. Yeah, I would just turn it up in YouTube so I could make sure none of the craziness was happening through there. So yeah, now we are good. So, whew, to the bar. That's where I need to go. We're out of here. We'll unplug that. Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Mike with Noob Television, and we're definitely not waking up with Noob-TV because it's like 4 and 10 o'clock. So this is going to bed in the UK with Noob-TV, and this is waking up with the hangover in America. So, waking up with Noob-TV or whatever it's going to be, it's just going to be kind of like a recap talk show about what has happened in the industry. And even though it's super late, the biggest thing in the industry was E3. Uh, I know that I've watched it with a bunch of other people when Divide and Conquer was kind of going over a lot of it. And our friend here, the Gingerback, was there live in the flesh, got to experience all those feels. Um, so he's on here to kind of go over, what it was like to be there, to actually get to play some of the games. And then kind of on the top right there, that's where it's a guideline to kind of, this is what we like to talk about. If we can talk about it, it gets raced off the board. If we don't, it stays there till the next show. So we'll just see how everything goes, and this is kind of the test run show, and we'll just kind of go from there, and we'll tweak it. We'll tweak it as needed. Maybe we'll eventually be somebody's wake up show one day. The first thing is huge for most people. I mean, it's a toss up between the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Well, I guess we can roll with Fallout first. Um, what was it like to finally to hear multiplayer on Fallout? And I like that. That's one thing in the back of my mind I was worried about was you're gonna have a World of Warcraft, world in Fallout when yeah, it's supposed to be, there's a few people from every one of the vaults all over the world, that are gonna be coming out. Not hundreds. Welcome, Exile She-Wolf. How are you doing today? Caps. The This way it's the origins of the caps. Origin story. Fallout 76. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be neat to go into it. I mean, it's not technically anybody's first time, but like you're going into the world for the first time to see how they're going to make that work. You know, this is the first time people have touched, build the economy and stuff like that. And that's weird. That's it. I'd say that's kind of weird to have like a whole nother set of monsters, but still, keep it because it's always weird when you're going a future game, but back in time, and then you get like a new monster. You're like, well, where was he in like all these other games at? Welcome, Grim Reaper. I can't hear Noob. You can't hear me. You should be able to hear me. This has been tested. It's been tested. I know you can hear me. Don't break my heart. No, you should be able to. What? Refresh or turn up. Doop. There we go. There we go. Okay. Hang on a sec. Let me bring it back up. Rocket Bunny, how are you doing? Uh, the Gingerback actually left to go get his food, so if you just hang on a sec, he'll be back, and we'll kind of continue the show a little bit. Or actually, I could. There he is. Can you hear me though, Rocket Bunny? I just want to make sure someone else within here. Okay, so the Grim Reaper. Uh, you might need to refresh. I don't know if you're on your cell phone or what the deal is, but you might need to refresh to be able to hear me. Okay, I just see you came back, the Grim Reaper. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes, no, maybe. But yeah, we'll have to get you a better way of getting you on the webcam for future things though. Get you nice and crisp. But yeah, thank you, Rocket Bunny, for the follow. I reloaded the app, but I can hear the other guy, just not you. That is crazy. It's weird that someone else can hear me and then you can't. I remember once upon a time through Chrome, through Firefox, through cell phone, through Android, through Apple. Like there was all sorts of little minor issues where things would and wouldn't work. So it could just be because I'm using OBS and because you're on Android or something like that. I've had that happen. I just had to keep refreshing till it was fixed. So yeah, I know that since they're testing little things, there's always some kind of weird issue. Because I'm not going off a Mac, I'm on a PC and I'm using OBS, but it's always like some of the details, if they don't, the sun and the moon and cats and dogs aren't getting along, it just doesn't want to work. And Grim, once you get your PC tomorrow, like you get to go through these growing pains of getting all this to work, and it's gonna suck. I mean, we just 2.5 hours just to get audio to work, so it's been a great time. But back to Fallout 76, recapping. Rocket Bunny just came in. We were talking about just kind of the first time feels. Like I watched it on air here on Caffeine through Divide and Conquer stream. We kind of had like a little get together with some people. The Gingerback was actually live there on and got to to experience all that stuff and just kind of getting his reactions on how he felt there in the moment, and I guess just kind of like how other people, it's like when you're in a theater and you're watching like Titanic for the first time, everybody's crying. You gotta live that experience with everyone. So we're kind of getting that on ground experience with just some of the stuff that happened during E3. And Yeah, and they did promise that there's still that singular aspect. Like if you still want to roll, like you don't have just because they're adding the new element into the mix, like you don't have to go with that flow. You can still do the thing by yourself and still live that experience that you felt on the other games. And that's where a lot of people are like, "Oh no, multiplayer." It's like, well, they're still giving you the option of the original game. And I mean, speaking of Fallout Shelter on my Switch, holy crap! Like I had it on my phone. What the hell? I think there was a Star Wars one that kind of had the same concept. Played that many years ago. Did Fallout Shelter when it first came out on the phone, and just it was just so small. Like it just wasn't fun just to do on my phone. I mean, I liked it, but just dealing with everything on such a small scale, because this would be for like phones that ended up being 6 inches or whatever when they were really tiny, and to be able to do it on my Switch, like the Switch, I fall asleep to it every night. I wake up, the first thing I do is grab it and go straight to Fallout Shelter. So I love that. Dancing over there. But yeah, Fallout Shelter, super awesome. I'm glad that it's on the Switch. Is it on PlayStation and Xbox? Okay. Yeah, I do like that I can play 55 inches of Fallout Shelter. Or the fact that I could just, I could drop it in there and I guess, put it up on Caffeine. I'm sure that would be the most boringest stream ever. Let's. Oh yeah. Well, I don't. That's which sucks because there's so many things I'd love to do with the iPhone. If I could just like with me working for my shop and stuff, I'd love to have it, the phone set up so people could see it. So Android support would be awesome. But but just to kind of recap on it, as we talk about things, I'll end up throwing, after we're done talking, just kind of like what was shown on E3, then we'll bring it back, talk about like the next game type of thing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I at first I thought it was a joke, and then I read somewhere where it really wasn't, and I was like, but that's the joke? I think a lot of novelty stuff, that's how usually gets made. It's a joke, and then someone's like, we can make money, or people will buy this or go for this. So, oh, damn, that's that's a hell of a joke. They were willing to take a loss, create something. But yeah, and then this here is actually the official trailer release from Fallout. Welcome, creative. There we go.
Welcome on my side, we have an anonymous watching. If you want to make a free account, you can join the conversation. We're talking about E3 and all the new games.
Life is all there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze.
It's so crazy to always see like videos like this.
The fighting is stopped and the fallout is settled. You must rebuild.
Like I almost want to go back and detailedly watch this to see if I can pull stuff in the past that things have been done in the future.
They did say they were going to be very careful with the way they're showing off. So if there is anything in there, it's there for a reason.
Our future begins.
Fallout. That still gets me. Like, get the feels right there. The feels. I'm excited. Just the fact that I can play with my friends is, to me, like, I enjoy the Fallout aspect. But there's people. Like, I interact with so many people. I have cities or little towns that I built with so many people. And like, now to physically be able to talk to somebody and to hang out with someone will just make that experience so much better.
Yeah, I was out with my friends yesterday. We went out to the woods and had a bonfire, but I was talking to one of them about Fallout 76. And we started making plans of how we want to play the game. And we decided what we're going to do is we're going to get like 2 other people. And you know, they were talking about how you've got the nuclear missiles in the game. You've got to find the codes.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go around. We're going to try and find all of the nuclear missile codes and then keep them to ourselves so nobody else can use them. And then scatter them across the map in our own locations so nobody else knows where they are. So we control the nuclear missiles.
For that one day, somebody pushes the buttons.
It's going to take them a hell of a long time to find them.
You hold all the cards.
Yeah, we'll control the region. And if someone pisses us off, we'll hammer them.
You're out of here.
Ruthless.
One of the other things that Bethesda did was the big announcement besides Fallout. I guess Fallout was like, it didn't need to happen, but it did, and we're excited it happened. The one that everybody was waiting for was Elder Scrolls 6. And
I wouldn't say this was necessarily an announcement. They were just kind of like, oh, by the way, just so you know, we are working on this. It is going to happen eventually.
But I guess knowing is where, that's what gets everybody excited. You know, you're like, oh, finally, because they work on it for 10 years and never tell you about it. It's like you want to know that they're at least thinking about it. And it was just nice to see. I was a little... It's kind of like meh with the whole, what was it, the tablet version, I think? Was it Blades? Was that supposed to be kind of like an Elder
Scrolls mobile game?
That just, I don't know, when I think of like AAA titles and then I think of mobile, I think of like Fortnite mobile, where like you can't really move and you see the people just kind of spinning slowly in circles. I just tried imagining that guy using the way he was using the remote, and I was like, that has to be horrible. Trying to slash people and do everything. It just seems, unless I'm on a tablet, that trying to do it on a small phone, it's just going to be so hard to do.
They did have that out on a playable demo on the floor, and I did get a chance to have a look at it. I didn't get a chance to play it because the queues were just massive, but I did sort of peep over and looked up someone's shoulder. But it's not an Elder Scrolls game, not in the way that we know it in terms of like an open world RPG type thing. It's very kind of, you have your home base and then you go out and do kind of like dungeons kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's not really an Elder Scrolls game. It's just kind of, I think, a bonus extra for people who are fans of those worlds, kind of tie people over until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Yeah.
Or until they at least have more to say about it.
Yeah, I would say, because they definitely, they didn't give us much. They just basically gave us a 30-second clip of like some land, the title, and then you're like amazed. We're getting Elder Scrolls sometime, like it's going to happen.
But
yeah,
I think they're very good at that, and I think that's the same reason they did Fallout Delta. It was just sort of like, oh, here's a little extra, just kind of, here's something for the fans.
Yeah.
And they like doing those things. And I think that's why they've done Blades. And I think that's very much why they've done Fallout 76. It just kind of gives something to the fans that's new for Fallout. And
I'll have to get Blades. At least give it a try. Completely happy with Switch Fallout. So I approve that.
I was even checking out the Elder Scrolls card game, which they've got.
I forgot about that. I did forget about that.
Well, it's been out for a while now. I think it's in its second year.
I keep forgetting that's like a huge thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you had Magic the Gathering, there was Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh and things like that. And then I feel like, I can't think of the name of it now. It wasn't not Hearthstone. Before that, there was back in like the Xbox 360 days. There was a big one that I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, as a digital version, but it played out the same way. But yeah, when Hearthstone started, that's what got me into the whole digital craze. And since then, there's Witcher, I think, has one.
Yeah. Gwen's the one that got me into those sort of games.
So yeah, The Witcher has a version of the card games, and then now, with this, you'll have, like you said, 2 years for Elder Scrolls, the card game.
I think this is the second year that it's going for. I think it came out last year, yeah.
So, I mean, stuff like that's fun. You get to play a card game based on your favorite game.
Yeah, why not?
And I'm a huge Blizzard person, so the fact that I can see, World of Warcraft characters in a different light is kind of cool. And the fact that I can play through the PC, through mobile, was awesome. Like, the job that I had back in the day was like a lot of like sit time. So just being able to sit down and play with friends, was kind of nice. Oh, let's see. I'm gonna drop this.
What we got now?
Elder Scrolls 6 here.
So they did say in a interview after the conference that they did drop a lot of hints into these trailers. So there has been some like breakdown of what people have seen and worked out.
Just in something as similar as this, just a landscape overview, still dropping little hints and things into. Like, I haven't played Elder Scrolls since Morrowind, so like I couldn't say, hey, look at that castle and the hilltop there or whatever, that has some relevancy into the Elder Scrolls universe or whatever, if there is a universe between each and every one, if it's a continuation or open space. Like, I haven't played Skyrim or Oblivion or...
They are all set in the same timeline.
Okay.
So there are references, like Oblivion happens after Morrowind, but Skyrim is like 200 years before Morrowind.
Okay, so same world, just different timelines. And that's good to know. Everyone keeps saying I should get Skyrim. Nobody ever's like, hey, go back and, get Oblivion. But everyone says that Skyrim, I need to go give it a try.
Oblivion was definitely groundbreaking for the time. I think Skyrim was just the first one that became so massively popular. Oblivion had its issues, unfortunately, but it was a massive stepping stone for them in creating Skyrim. But anyway, we're not here to talk about old games. I could for the entire night if you want. But we'll save it for another time.
I would say there's a lot to talk about old school. One of the other things that was huge for me, and it was one of those things like a lot of people didn't really ask for it. I never heard anyone ever talk about it. I played the first one a little bit, and it was different. But I think for the time, the graphics and everything about it was just amazing, and that was Rage. And now they're coming out with Rage 2. We're on the same company, right? Or did I mess that up?
No, that is Bethesda.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I was like, everything was in a certain order. But yeah, like for... What was it? PlayStation 3 and 360, like the graphics were phenomenal. The gameplay was really awesome. But it instantly went from $60 to like $10. It just seemed like within the first month it fizzled out. And I thought it was a great game. And I've heard a lot of people say, why did we get a second one? And I never finished it, so I can't say if it's taking off. But like that trailer blew my mind. They could have named it anything else. And I mean, I would have been into it. So I mean, Rage 2 or, Jim's Wild Adventures, Mad Max style, whatever. Like, I want this game.
Fair play. I have to be honest, I never played the first Rage. It was never something that caught my attention anyway. But anyone I've ever spoken to who had played it all say that it was a fantastic game and there was nothing wrong with it. Well, I say that. They say there was some mechanical issues with it and there was a bit glitchy or whatever. But as a game, it was a good piece of work. So from that respect, I get the feeling they they have something to prove with this. They feel like they didn't do the first one justice and they want to redo it and they want to kind of redeem themselves with this one. Or to me, it kind of also feels like they just want to jump further into this kind of apocalyptic, Walking Dead, zombie, Borderlands kind of madness in games.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind the cartoony, the more childy type games, but it is nice to see, Unreal 4 engine Borderlands style gameplay, or, just the Mad Max universe, done. And I like games that are like that. Nothing against, the the Fortnites or, you know, the Borderlands or just the more cartoonier style games. I still like those too, but it is nice to be able to see some Michael Bay crazy explosion, like just real live effect type of video games as well, and be able to do it right, because it's definitely not about the graphics. You can still have really good looking games that are just horrible.
Well, no, yeah, I think it is about the graphics, but just not in the same way that think something like Fallout 76 is about graphics. Fallout 76 is all about, you know, the latest, nicest, prettiest graphics. This is about just promoting the atmosphere, promoting the kind of mentality that the game has in the craziness and the madness, which is why they've gone for the more sort of Borderlands style.
Yeah, and this one, I believe this one's a little bit longer, but at least we can depict it a little bit, kind of break it down, because there's a lot of cool things that I don't feel like what was it? I don't feel like the aspect of powers was something that was in the first one. But I'm going to switch it over to that. Yeah, I don't think, or I don't remember. Like, when it came to the first one, I figured it was more, felt like a game show.
God turned his back on
like a post-apocalyptic game show.
It wasn't a war. It wasn't global warming. It was a fucking asteroid.
Dinosaurs, man.
I was born in this shithole. Parents murdered, an orphan of this wasteland.
If it isn't a nuke, it's an asteroid.
Everyone I ever loved.
See, this is the thing. I don't think this is why I'm kind of not that excited about it. Because for me personally, I'm very into my story-driven games. And this to me just kind of like the generic post-apocalyptic storyline.
Kind of like your run and gun Call of Duty Battlefield-esque type thing, where it's going to be like a mind-numbing gameplay and not so much story mode.
Something you can just sort of switch off and mindlessly murder for a few hours.
Hello, E3, and welcome to the world
But I mean,
of Rage 2. In a moment,
it looks
dive
amazing.
Headfirst into the Eden spaceport mission, where Walker, our main protagonist,
I mean, it looks huge.
a rare artifact
Canada, Walmart,
that will aid him in his
league.
quest to take down the Authority.
I mean, you gotta have a bit of fun with that.
Like this right here, I just feel very Twisted Metal. Like I just want to get in a car and blow stuff up.
Now that's a game they should make another one of.
That's what made me buy my PlayStation 3. I went with the 360 and was like, if they ever bring Twisted Metal back, I will get a PlayStation. And they did. And I feel like it's long overdue. E3 2019, Twisted Metal, make it happen. God, I couldn't imagine a Twisted Metal with graphics like this, and like a big.
Like just sprawling through an open world New York, just causing absolute chaos.
Doctor, made it to the space center.
I do like that they're promoting the seamless world, like where there is no load times or, you know, coming in and out. You just from one thing to another.
Can I just say, who started that? CD Projekt Red. Everyone's now doing it. Witcher 3 just made that a standard for open world RPGs. There's no loading screens.
I love how they got the little the tracer from Overwatch thing. You're just doing your little zip.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool mechanics that they've clearly taken from other places and other games and just brought into their own kind of crazy universe.
Yeah, because none of it makes sense. Like, you got your boomerang thing, you've got magical powers, you can teleport, like, it's just... Anything that you thought was cool anywhere else in video game world, it's like we are dropping it in this game. That's the most ugliest thing I've ever seen, but I almost want it hanging on my wall. I love how they, in the trailer, drop their their exclusive collector's edition into an infomercial.
Well, that's the thing. I think they're trying to take something from the Deadpool movies and the Deadpool game as well, where it's like constantly breaking its own fourth wall.
Kill your way to
But yeah, I mean, like you said, it might not have an intricate story, but it's just going to be like a rough Wednesday at work, and you just want to come home. It has a very fast pace, like Doom.
Yeah, I did think that actually. There's very much the kind of fighting mechanics of Doom where it's not about standing still and cover based. You've got to keep moving and you've got to keep fucking murdering.
Yeah, because I mean, the whole thing, he's constant moving, and like right now, it definitely, Doom's really good, like about with their nice graphics and everything. And I mean, in all rights, it's done by, you know, id. So I guess that's probably where you're getting, you know, where I get that feel from.
It's down. The ecopod made it.
I know, and so does the authority. Hurry,
Yeah, this.
get the untamed nanotrites and get out.
Recovering old tech.
Also for you, there is an extra boon. Something that will make you a veritable superhero.
Elevator's still running. So far.
But yeah, it definitely looks pretty impressive.
Looks
and-
Major
Fun
Walker's
to
gonna
play,
get
definitely.
most today.
Enough that I want to, you know, make it my go-to bad day game.
That'll be a problem.
Yeah, I think for me this is one where I'm not rushing to pre-order, but I'll definitely get it at some point.
I mean, and you know, if it's gonna, you know, do something like the first one did and drop down, hey Hannah, you know, drop down in price in the first 6 months, you know.
No. I don't think it will. I think they're marketing this one differently. Because the first one just kind of came out of nowhere. No one really, it wasn't marketed effectively necessarily. Whereas they're obviously putting some money into this one.
Yeah, because I don't, like I said, I don't even remember it being a thing. You know, it,
Yeah,
like you
it's
said, it
on the
just,
shelves.
you went to GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart, and there's Rage 1, and you're like, what is this? But you looked at the box, it looked amazing, and most people bought it, but I don't think they understood what they were getting into.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's why it went down so, you know, so quick. Is people didn't, you know, they assumed it was something, probably wasn't what they were wanting, and then returned it, which was great because you got some collector's edition, you know, for $15 or whatnot. So I mean, that in that aspect was, you know, really cool.
But yeah, another solid showing from Bethesda at their conference.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely. It's nice when you can be so big, you can have your own conference. I mean, you know, where, as an example, you know, like the Last of Us, like you're getting shown at Sony's conference, not on your own because you just have this huge, you know, dominating playlist of games. And, I mean, they did a really good job. There was a bunch of other games that I personally didn't follow, didn't know about. Still cool to see. What were some of the other ones that I guess I say non-popular because I didn't know, but what were some of the other ones that either that you got to try or that you actually enjoyed?
We're still speaking just Bethesda?
Yeah.
So the one that I was personally really excited for, and it was kind of similar to Elder Scrolls 6, was Starfield. That's something that I've been looking forward to for quite a while and been kind of keeping my eye on. Because it's their first original IP in something like 20 years or something. And what they're kind of toting it as is a single-player RPG experience like Fallout or like Elder Scrolls, but sold in a space kind of setting and a little intergalactic kind of setup. And we did see a small trailer about that. Again, didn't really show off anything, just gave us a bit of an idea of the tone of the game and what it might look like a little bit. I know other people have deep dived into that before, but it's all speculation at this point. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. I think that's going to be their main show for next year.
Okay, doke. Just kind
I
of
think it's going to be great.
bringing out a new franchise, trying to keep some things fresh. You know, I mean, if you
Yeah.
do something well, you know, continue to do it, but you know, take it to a different genre. And I mean, yeah, a
Absolutely.
lot of their big open world story mode, you know, like they're tackling post-apocalyptic. They're tackling, the medieval-ish times, and now Rage 2, I feel, is a different post-apocalyptic, created instead of, us eliminating ourselves. So yeah, I mean, having, an outer space type thing, is kind of nice as well. Let's see. I actually found one.
I'm very into the sort of space stuff as well, so that's going to hit a personal note for me.
Well, here we go. Let's check this one out because I don't remember it.
There's not really much to see. But I do like the soundtrack.
What was the space one that was coming out? Where so you could like build the spaceship on the fly and it's like in the game. Was it this?
I'm not sure. I think that might be Starlink.
That's what it is. That's the one I saw. So I didn't see this. I must have caught. I might have caught this.
They showed this just before they show Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay. Yeah, I might have walked away or because I don't remember this at all. This is what that other one is what I was thinking. Oh well, they really don't give much away.
No. I mean, there's some things you can pick from that. I mean, the music definitely alludes to kind of sci-fi noir kind of feel.
Okay. Yeah, I must have overlooked that one.
But I think that's going to be their big one for next year at E3 and also to be released next year because they have said they are quite far in production of it. They do have a playable version of it at the moment. But they don't want to show anything more than that at this point because obviously the focus now is Fallout 76.
Oh, yeah. And then they had a playable version at E3, or you just mean in general they have a playable version?
They have in studio a playable version.
Okay. The other one...
That's just to indicate how far in production it is.
Okay. Trying to think... What else? Because that's when I first started. I was busy doing other things, and this is right where I first started E3 and kind of pretty much kept up with E3 the rest of the time. So yeah. I missed probably half of their show. I came in right when the Fallout Rage and Elder Scrolls, and then anything that happened a little bit before that or in between for me running in and out, I might have missed. So it's kind of cool. Now I can keep up with that game.
I highly recommend it. It does look like it's going to be something special.
And I feel like this one had a lot to offer. Like, I've seen a lot of different E3s, and you're like, yeah, there's like 3 core games that really blow your mind. But, like, just from one company, I mean, they pushed out 3 or more that just, you're like, holy crap. I can't wait. Take my money.
There's a reason that they've been winning awards for best studio and best developers and everything for years now.
And I don't feel like I don't want to rip on anyone else, but I mean, of course you got your series and you're just going to keep using it if it's selling, but as in like Assassin's Creed, for example, like I feel like there's enough gap between their series that they can keep it fresh. It doesn't get stale. They're just not every year pushing these things out. So it's nice to see that they're treating their properties, in a way where they're not abusing the popularity or the name of their game to just, shit them out.
No, absolutely. It's something that they've always been very good at. They leave enough breathing room between games for fans to actually really want the next one. And they put enough care and attention to making each game.
The other one I have up here on the list was Cyberpunk.
Oh.
What was it? A year ago? Could have been 2 years ago where they released.
It was last year E3 they did the first trailer.
The first trailer, and then
which said nothing.
No, it just said, "I want to buy you."
Yeah.
Take my money, and I don't know why. Just take it.
Yeah.
Could have been the song. I don't know what it was. It was amazing.
That is pretty much my reaction to anything CD Projekt Red does at the moment. It's just like, there, have it.
And yeah, I mean, even for let's see here. Okay, I got this one up.
What I love about this one is that It's the game that we saw the least about at E3, but it's the one that everyone is talking about the most. And there's so much to talk about as well.
Yeah, I would drop this here. Let's take a peek.
In 2077,
Just very quickly, welcome Gingerback to the broadcast. We're talking E3 announcements with Noob Television.
Main issues, sky-high rate of violence, and more people living below the poverty line.
I just love the soundtrack.
Personal Responsibility or whatever.
Can't deny it, it's all true.
I can't think who plays it offhand.
From
the original soundtrack.
This song is called Spoiler by a DJ called Hype.
But it's there, just around the corner, and it keeps you going.
Like, I feel like it has that Beyond Human feel, but not
big dreamer.
Not that story, but like I'm getting that vibe, but more on a more adult, more serious, aggressive level than. And you actually get to play versus I think Beyond Human was more like make this decision. It did a couple things and it seemed more like a movie than an actual game.
Detroit's a classic David Courage game.
That car, I mean, somebody from the 80s like that, that does it for me. But yeah, that music, the industrial, you know, just, I mean, yeah, all that's good. I've heard some of the songs from their soundtrack from the original trailer. This one, it's on my playlist, my art playlist. When I'm building overlays like this, that's what I'm rocking out to. That and the Hotline Miami. There's that one song. I think it's by Moon.
I think I know what you're talking about. Just gets it going.
Yeah, it's a good way to get the art flowing.
Now, obviously, separate to that trailer, there was a 50-minute behind closed doors playable demo, which they did for media and things like that. I managed to, fortunately, sorry, hold on a sec. I sort of cough into my mic. I managed to speak to someone who saw the 50-minute playable demo. And I'm not going to say his name, but he's someone who's been working in the industry for like 20 years, done every job on every level in whatever companies and everything. And he literally just had one sentence to say about it. And he was just pretty much, yeah, it's probably going to be the greatest game ever made.
Sold.
Literally, the kind of feeling is with this, if they pull off 50% of what they're promising, it's still going to be the best game on the market for years to come.
Yeah, I like the... Because I don't know much about it. Like, I haven't looked into it that much besides seeing just a little bit here and there. I wish I could have, even before doing this, had a little more information. You know, what kind of world, how you're actually going to interact with the world, play with it, and do things like that.
So the biggest controversy with that is that they announced it as being a first-person shooter kind of viewpoint. And now, obviously, everyone was expecting kind of more of a third-person over-the-shoulder thing like we had with Witcher 3. But anyone who thinks that that's going to be an issue, I have one thing to say to that. VR
What's up,
support.
Minecrafting Dead? Oh,
VR
yeah.
support is going to come for it eventually, and then the FPS is going to be sick.
VR, period. Like, I have the PlayStation VR, so I'm limited to what I can do. I mean, it's kind of like the low end of the totem pole between, you know, the Oculus and the Vive. Like, anything else, I don't even think, like, that's not the VR playing field for me. You know, the Oculus, the Vive, and PlayStation, that's the only thing I think about when I think VR. And for that being the lowest scale, the stuff that I've experienced with it, the Doom, oh crap, what else was there? Resident Evil, like those were mind-blowing for me. So I can't even imagine a game at this caliber going into it with a PC, and it would just be mind-blowing. If you could like see and live a world just like the trailers are, you know.
Well, that's kind of what they're aiming for. I mean, you can have full character customization, including building a background for them, which is going to affect the way that the world interacts with you. Size-wise, they're saying it's going to be about the same as Witcher, but there's going to be no loading screens, so it's going to be all one kind of world. But instead of being a massive horizontal landscape, it's very vertical. So you've got a lot of skyscrapers that you're going into and out of, and a lot of different districts within the city that you're going to. So you've got slums and middle class and upper class areas. So it's going to be interesting to see how they build this map on such a massive scale, but in a kind of direction that we've not really seen on that scale in a game, especially the detail that they're promising.
Yeah, the detail's huge. Yeah, I'd say the only thing, and it was very small scale, doing the vertical aspect was like BioShock Infinite. I feel like you had that up and down, but you had like 3 levels and that's it. You know, you'd have just your normal playing field. You kind of go up another flat ground or whatnot, and then you just kind of go down. But yeah, being able to see or be able to move freely with no loading screens. Because I mean, they're smart about how they do it now. Like you enter a building and they might throw up a loading screen, or they're really good about, if you're doing a task, they'll use the loading screen while you're kind of manipulating the task, so you don't notice it as much. But to be able to just run free and never have to worry about knowing where you started or stopped, I think would be awesome.
Well, I mean, they were the first ones to do that kind of thing in video games with Witcher 3 and having no loading screen. But even there, you had kind of the 3 different areas or the 4 different areas that you could travel to, and you had a loading screen between those. But even those areas on their themselves were massive. So they have the technology to do it. You know, they were the first ones to do it. They're the kind of godfathers of doing that, if you want.
And it's so sad. Like I play so many games that I can't experience them all, and it sucks because things like Witcher, I've never played one. I actually have Borderlands 1 and 2 here, but I haven't had a chance to play it. But I play everything, and that's the bad thing. Like, you get wrapped up into like a Final Fantasy, you're gone. 90 hours of your life easily is gone. And in those 90 hours, you have games like The Witcher coming out and all this other stuff. But then, like, at the core, you're a fan of this game. So it's like you finish one, and you're going to get your favorite series, and then something like The Witcher or Borderlands. I haven't even done Mass Effect. You know, those kind of like, they get sent to the wayside. And maybe one day I'll just sit down in 1 month and just like do a Mass Effect marathon and just kind of roll through, you know, until it's done. And just say, I'm going to play all these games. Because I keep hearing everyone's like, I can't believe you haven't done this or done that. Yeah. And it's like, eventually I will. But games aren't, I mean, look at NES. You know, in 15 minutes you're beating Contra. Or, you know, in a 30 minutes you beat Mario. You know, now you invest so much time into a game that you can't play them all. And for somebody that plays,
it's a great problem to have.
I'm a console person more so than PC, so I have a ton of games. It's just hard to do it all.
It's like, I've still got Metal Gear Solid 5 is sitting in my Steam account. I've just not touched it.
Oh yeah, there's a few. Okay, I'd like to say a few. There's a lot that still have the cellophane on. More than I would like to throw out there, but yeah, I mean, I should stop buying games today and then spend the next year just playing what's on the shelf I haven't opened. But I can't. I can't. When you see stuff like Cyberpunk and Rage, you're like, I have to play those.
Yeah, I'm glad they haven't announced a release date for Cyberpunk, because I'm kind of hoping it's as late as possible, because there's just so many other games that I'm going to have to play before then. You know, we've already talked about Fallout 76, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Ghost of Tsushima. There's just so many great games coming out at the moment. And so we're very fortunate to have this problem where we don't have enough time to play all these amazing games.
And even then, like you said, Assassin's Creed. For the Assassin's Creed...
Yeah, segueing along to Ubisoft.
Yeah, I'm going to delete all these so I don't accidentally bring up another one. Assassin's Creed, for the time, groundbreaking, amazing, fun. I mean, it still had like a Prince of Persia thing, so maybe not so much groundbreaking, but it made me forget about Prince of Persia and made me feel like it was a standalone. Like, it didn't feel like it. I mean, in reality, it is, but It was amazing. And the second one, like, of course you got to have the first, and then the second, it was okay, and then they just kept butchering it, and then it was like, it was that machine. Every year we got to spit out these things, and it wasn't until Black Flag came along. I'm like, wow, we are pirates. You know, everything else was so story driven between, was it Demon? I think Demon was his name, and his lineage. And then it's like, cool. The main guy,
I can't remember.
it was a D. I was like Damien,
Yeah, it was
but I'm like,
definitely D.
yeah, like Demon or whatever, where it's like we're going through his life, and it's like, okay, well, you can't just continue with that one person. So when 4 came out, you're on the ocean, like that did it for me. Like I was Jack Sparrow, I am out there doing stuff, and it brought the series back because I was like, I never want to play another Assassin. Desmond, I was close. A Damien, Damon, you know, we're getting there. Desmond, that was it. But it brought it back for me. It was just something where the series got so stale, but then it kind of went back into that again, where I don't even remember the other ones besides Origin. So Black Flag, Origins, if there was any Assassin's Creeds in there, I don't even know. I can't even tell you what they were because they just were not relevant because they went back to the same formula. And I haven't done Origins. A lot of people, it's kind of like a 50-50 good bad. But Odyssey,
I have to say,
it looks pretty amazing.
The last one that I played was Assassin's Creed 3. I think I played all of them up to that one, and then I just completely lost interest in the whole series. So I didn't play 4, I didn't play any of those, I didn't play Origins. I just basically just didn't care about the series anymore. I saw 2 minutes of gameplay of this, and I was hooked. Absolutely. I went to the panel, actually, where they discussed it. You can watch the panel on YouTube somewhere. But they were talking very, very much about how they want this game to be a breakaway from the old Assassin's Creed games which they used to make. And they're very, very adamant. This is not an Assassin's Creed game as we know it. And this is kind of their big jump into building a fully fledged RPG world.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people talking about that too, where they're promising the step away, and they're kind of promising that we're not going. You hope they're not going to get back in that grind again and go with the this game sells. Let's butcher it to death. You know, give us time to play it.
Talking about adding new content and the longevity of the game. They were saying they were going to be adding new content to the world on, I think, either a weekly or a monthly basis. So it is very much going to feel like you have this world that's constantly evolving, constantly changing.
And that would be amazing. Yeah, where you're kind of living it from week to week. So it's not getting stale. Or kind of preventing you from getting too far right off the bat so that you can kind of soak it up and take it all in. But yeah, I think this could be another one to, like Black Flag, bring me back into the fold again. Let's see here.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's going to make it one of the top games again. I hope that, as you say, they don't now let's bring out another one next year and then another next year and butcher it and turn it into bullshit again. I hope that they now take the more traditional approach in spending the next 2 years to bring out DLC for this game.
Yeah, I'd rather have a game stick around for 5 years and get built upon. I'd rather have the DLC. I mean, money is money. You're going to buy Assassin's Creed 1 through 20, or give me Assassin's Creed and give me downloads once a year. Or, you know, I'd rather give you money that way and build one badass immersive world than just throw money at you for a whole nother story that's the same story, and then now you're giving me a reason to complain because you didn't really do what, you know, you were living up to. But yeah, the trailer on this thing, let's see here, is pretty amazing.
Now, this is one of the games I actually did get to play this for 10 minutes.
Ooh, you did?
I was very impressed. They had 3 different 10-minute demos that you could play. One of them was kind of a combat-based one. Another one was kind of sort of based around some of the additional things in the world. And there was one that was slightly story-based. And obviously the big thing which they're trying to show off is that you can play either a man or a female. So it's going to be slightly different stories for each character, which is great because it adds a bit of replayability as well. But it's the way that you interact with people within the world as well is going to change depending on whether you're a man or a woman, obviously.
And now that's kind of cool if you're going for like that time period where, you know, if certain things are gonna be easier to get into or easier to do, you know, like obviously if there's a gentleman's club and you're a girl, like you just can't walk in like, you know, a guy would. So it'd be kind of cool to see that play off and go vice versa, you know, where,
Yeah.
you know, if there was probably wrong term for the time period, but like a brothel or whatever, where, you know, if it's something like that, you as a guy just aren't going to be able to walk in and, you know, do things inside there for your story as you could, you know, being female. So I think it's kind of cool to, you know, see how each one's going to play out. And like you said, if it's a huge difference where you can actually play the game twice and go both routes and get a completely different experience, and I think that would, you know, would be pretty awesome to have like 2 save modes, you know, male, female, and you can just play it with a new expansion or whatever comes out, you know, roll through each one of the 2 and just get a completely different game, you know, from 2 different sides.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how deep they go with the difference in between the 2 characters.
Let's see here, we'll toss this bad boy up.
For those of you that are listening that haven't seen the premise of this game, so basically you are playing as a Spartan mercenary. You are the grandchild of King Leonidas, and one of your main weapons is the Spear of Leonidas, which has some like magical abilities to it. The time period that it's set in is during the Peloponnesian War, so it's the war between Athens and Sparta. So they are kind of focusing on the historical aspect on it and the historical accuracy of the world that you're living in. But they have kind of said that there will obviously, as usual, be some creative license taken with certain things.
See here, drop this up.
How can a child save us all?
It'd be nice to step out of the
He's sentenced to die. Tell me, Nicholas.
oh,
Tell
I
me
can't
where
think,
you
like
let
that
your
time
son
period
go.
from before.
I mean, I'm a big fan of that time period. Anything ancient Greek, I'm a huge fan of that sort of stuff.
Where do we begin?
Well, yeah, I like where this time period's going, but the ones from like the past.
Who we will become.
Because I like the whole, you know, the Greek gods and just that whole thing I really enjoy.
Built by friendship and family, love and loss, war and bloodshed.
Every time anytime anyone kicks anybody like that, I just, in my mind, is like, this is Sparta.
You were sent by the gods to protect this world.
Like,
Well,
I feel...
it's an ability that you can learn, and it's called the Spartan Kick.
You carry the blade of Leonidas. Act like it.
See, I didn't even know that. That's crazy that it's a legit thing, because every time I saw that, that's the first thing I go to is that, where I'm just amazed.
As you write your odyssey across
In my head, I'm like, they just copied off the movie. Everything has to do with the movie. Hello, Rickard. How are you doing this evening, morning?
They definitely put some pop culture references in there. I mean, you're not going to make a game where you play a Spartan warrior and not have some references to like 300, some of the other pop culture references with that.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Assassin's
Available
Creed
October 5th.
Odyssey. And October 5th, like, I love that. I don't have to wait that long.
Yeah, it's right near my birthday.
Yeah, mine's in November. I'm always stuck with the Call of Duty. Like, that's always like
Even Fallout 76 this year.
I know. The day before, the day after, I think.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I was always stuck with Call of Duty, like every time. Well, I mean, at the time I enjoyed those series, not so much now with the jetpacks and everything that makes it not Call of Duty anymore. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's nice to, you know, get something old and bring it back. So just being able to refresh back into a series, and if they can pull it off, I would love to be an Assassin's Creed fan again.
I'm confident. I think they've learned the lessons from the past. To be fair, I think I'm more hopeful personally, because if they do pull it off, it's going to be a great game.
And then, let's see, pulling up these other videos. I'm glad I saved them. Go Google bookmarks. Lifesaver. speaking of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I was completely blown away with Skull and Bones.
I didn't actually see anything about this one.
Ooh. Well, I will roll the trailer first to give you a little insight, and then we can kind of get into it. Like the Sea of Thieves that you wanted. But I think that goes back to the cartoon style. I feel like Sea of Thieves is the Borderlands Fortnite version of something like this.
It was over. The old guard was wiped out. Those who kneeled were now at the gates of hell. They were killing us off, burning our seas from shore to shore. We thought there was no way the Empire could win this game. As fate would have it, the tide turned in our favor again. A new wind was at our backs, blowing us straight to heaven. In our new Eden, there was only one rule. First come, first serve. It was dog eat dog. We became kings, queens, lords, and masters of our own new worlds. Fortunes poured down on us. They had their empire. Now it was our turn. Enemies became friends. Friends became enemies. The best didn't trust anybody. The philosophy of the day was more and more. We were alone at the top of the food chain. Well, we thought we were. In a dog-eat-dog world, we were wolves. And wolves hunt in packs.
Yeah,
Okay.
that and I believe they showed they did.
Was that on the Microsoft conference then?
This was actually at the Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
Oh yeah, yeah. I figure. Yeah, we're keeping up with the theme here. So, oh, what was it? And that's what I figured. I figured like Black Flag got such a recognition that they're like, hey, we have a thing, it's working, but let's not do the Assassin's Creed. Like they had their thing, and
they recognize that people like pirates.
Yeah. And we can actually just BS while it's rolling, but and obviously the graphics are nothing as near. Keeps taking that at full screen. There we go. It's nothing like it is, what we just saw.
Yeah.
But I mean, this here is gameplay graphics, which I mean, in today's world, this is normal. Yeah. And they're still amazing.
It's not groundbreaking, but it's good. But I get the feeling this is going to be more about the style than the kind of graphic prowess.
But I mean, this in itself, it has a lot of the features, and like I said, it's coming from the people that made Black Flag. So yeah, you can tell the upgradable features and things like that. I feel it had some value to it that, hey, let's make one up with a different name.
According to your intel, the convoy is setting
But the way that it's laid out, I mean, it's so cool because you can still multiplayer. Like if you need help with something, you can draw in other people that come help you, take down an even bigger ship.
You need to find a way to sneak by before the convoy slips away.
I mean, that just looks amazing. I mean, I am down.
Fortunately,
Because I played, oh shit, what was it? World of Battleships or Warships.
Disguised as a
And like it's a free game, but this reminds me of it on an older scale.
It definitely has a kind of Black Flag visual feel to it, just on a more slightly photorealistic basis. Or attempting to be more photorealistic.
Perfect cover for a surprise attack.
But yeah, it... yeah, seeing this gameplay, that's what really did it for me, because I think I must have stepped away for a little bit and then saw this, and like in my head I'm like, Black Flag 2! I was like, yes! We are getting Black Flag 2. Like, I was just waiting for the Assassin's Creed logo to pop up. But yeah, when I think of Sea of Thieves, this is what I was expecting. I feel like that was another game that people got really hyped for, and then after playing it, then everybody now is kind of like, it didn't live up to what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, why were we so excited?
But yeah, I mean, just... And they did show this during E3. I don't know why that other one didn't have them both together.
It's interesting because it seems to have given some elements of the ship fighting to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, actually. Because looking at this gameplay, it definitely feels a bit like the AC Odyssey Sea Warfare kind of on a more expanded version.
At the helm is a Commodore.
Like when you just don't get your fix and you need a place to go to get that fix,
Lose your loot.
you just buy this game. This is the DLC.
You need help, and you need it fast.
This is the part I like. Like, these are your buddies.
Other captains have answered your call.
You know, they got...
One should even the odds.
You know, now you can come together. And I don't know if they're going to be multiplayer buddies or, you know, obviously NPC buddies that you make.
Using a coordinated battle plan.
I could have sworn that it was supposed to be
The enemy strikes first.
like real live multiplayer.
The first ship goes down, breaking your formation.
It feels like that's how they want to sell it.
But the part that I like about it is like what they're, you know, you get together and you do this. Hey, what's up, the young unknown? How you doing this evening or morning? Keep forgetting we're in a whole world. It's daytime, nighttime, evening, afternoon. I was like, yeah, it's nighttime here. You're like, how you doing? What I like what they're pitching is, yeah, you come together, you defeat this ship, and then now, you know, you're splitting the loot 4 ways. Or you could be that guy, because there's little boats, you know, take down the little guy, and now, you know, it gets split 3 ways, or get rid of them all. It can be split 1 way. So like you can turn on the people that helped you. I think that's pretty awesome. You could be that kind of pirate, and I think that's what's really cool. Is that you don't have to. You can just live a true pirate's life, backstabbing and doing whatever.
The royal fortune can't hold out much longer. It's up to you to land the killing blow.
Yeah, I'm down.
And like I said, for me, I didn't get enough Black Flag, so this here, I think would be good. Not a day one purchase, but I can see me going back in the first month, getting some videos up on YouTube, some people's reaction, a little more gameplay, just to make sure there is some story to it. Like, I don't want just this. Yeah, I need a little more than what they're...
Yeah, I'll play that.
But, like I said, it cures the itch that I had for Black Flag. Because, I mean, once you completed the story, and then there was the 4 legendaries at each corner of the map, I mean, after that, you're done. And then it's like, your ship's the biggest and baddest ship there is, and it's like, you know, what
Now
what do we do from here? So it's really cool to see a game 100% just wrapped around the pirate life. And I'm about that pirate life.
Damn straight.
And then I figured we'll do definitely at the hour-ish mark or so, or longer. I don't know.
I'm afraid at this point I'm probably gonna have to call it a night.
Oh yeah, we're an hour and 10 minutes. So that worked out good.
Midnight here.
Oh my god, now I feel
I
bad.
have work in the morning.
I do too, but I work for myself, so
That's nice.
I get away with certain things. But yeah, definitely for the people that are here, the few, the proud, the ones that stuck it out. You know, thanks for coming. This is just a very dry trial run just to see how things go. I think the transitions went a little well. I'll have to look into a stream deck or something. You know,
I think it looks alright.
We'll get the webcam thing figured out, and we'll do a lot of other stuff. But yeah, everybody that did show up, you know, thanks for supporting something new here. Go check out the Gingerback. Yeah, I need to do that too. Get like some information up for for your stuff too. But yeah, you know, if you have any questions, maybe have stuff, you know, for future content for shows or whatnot, or want to drop into a show, you know, and kind of give some of your information. The Discord's rolling around somewhere in one of these slide tabs, and you know, drop in there. And if you know, we'll be talking about E3 here throughout the week, probably 2 weeks. So if anybody wants to, you know, jump in, if you were there, given a, you know, an experience or things like that, you know, go ahead and do. What do you? Were you pulling me over?
No, I'm just messing around.
Oh, I'm like, what? Should I start moving that way? I know it's always reverse, so it's like, where you're like, hey, high five. Yeah. It's always crazy. I have fun with the dual webcamming. I need to like step it away so it's not so concentrated right on my face. But this is only so big, so for me to hide everything back there, it's got to be pretty close. But yeah, everybody, thanks for showing up. I believe, what do we got here? Minecrafting Dad, thanks for sticking it out. Divide, I know you're lurking. And then one Anonymous. And whoever you are, Mr. Anonymous, you need to go to the top right.
I've got Anonymous as well.
Yeah, top right, over
Anonymous.
Here. You need to go up there, sign up, have a really cool name, so I can call you by that name instead of Mr. Anonymous. Caffeine's awesome. If you were the type to me right now, I see it instantaneously. I can respond to you, no latency, no lag time, which is real great for podcasts and things like this, to where, you know, if we're talking about a particular subject, you know, you can voice your opinion in there. We can talk about it right away. Super awesome platform. But yeah, definitely make sure, you know, try it out. And if you're a streamer, you know, give it a whirl. It's easy as a click of a button. So download the client and get out there, make some friends. But other than that, this is Mike with Noob Television, the Gingerback. We are signing off. You guys have a great and amazing day. Talk to you later.
Cheers, everyone.
Woo! That was crazy.
That was fun.
And I've never done anything like that. Like, I am like a behind-the-scenes camera person.
Fair play.
So